So Bob Iger's cost containment plan is not only wreaking havoc at Lucasfilm and all other divisions over at the Walt Disney Company, but one of the biggest ones of all is indeed Marvel Studios. Now, we've had a lot of victories that were, of course, accomplished thanks to Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy for really taking a stand against the Disney heads, including Bob Iger as the CEO, but there's been a lot of drama happening behind closed doors between Ryan Reynolds, Shawn Levy, and let's not forget about She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany, revolving around Deadpool and Wolverine. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So one major aspect related to the ongoing drama revolving around the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the fact that they have had so many box office failures and so many challenges and setbacks related to the MCU, especially of course what looms for 2025. I'm sure that you all know about the overspending for Captain America 4. We know that the budget is well over $400 million at this point, which is not a good sign at all for 2025. But focusing on Ryan Reynolds and Tatiana Maslany and what's been going on between the two is only, of course, making things worse behind the scenes for Deadpool and Wolverine and all of the drama that has been escalating when it involves Bob Iger. Let's get into this. Now, specifically, we already know that Ryan Reynolds has been one that actually has been going against the Disney heads. He has been really setting the stage as one of the creators that is willing to actually make all these different ultimatums to get his point across to the Disney higher-ups, to the Disney executives, to really get things done his way. Now, with all divisions at the Walt Disney Company continuing to struggle due to Bob Iger's deliberate agenda, one major development now has more to do with Ryan Reynolds and She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany. Now, one crucial update going on right now from Maslany is how drama is beginning to spark again between Ryan Reynolds and Tatiana after Reynolds created yet another ultimatum against the Disney heads, including Bob Iger that he was willing to quit Avengers Secret Wars and another Deadpool movie that is in the very early development phase if they decide to introduce She-Hulk's deleted scenes in the Deadpool and Wolverine director's cut for this holiday season. Now, one shocking turn of events is that Ryan Reynolds had a major victory with that, where he forced Disney to stand down and to withdraw from using the She-Hulk scenes in the director's cut of Deadpool and Wolverine that included over 4 scenes of She-Hulk, one of which involves She-Hulk fighting Wolverine and defeating him with ease, with a series of cringeworthy dialogue that failed in the recent test screenings. Now, that scene was reportedly replaced with Wolverine actually fighting the real Hulk, as seen in the MCU, and this created outrage from Tatiana Maslany after she learned that her She-Hulk fight scene against Wolverine was deleted both from the theatrical release and the director's cut, and also, of course, replaced with regular Hulk. Now, Ryan reportedly knew that She-Hulk fighting Wolverine was going to create massive walkouts and massive backlash, and would be a deal-breaker for the fans midway through the film. Since her scenes failed in 2 test screenings, the scenes featuring She-Hulk that were filmed were initially forced to be filmed by those like Bob Iger and Kevin Feige, and were pressed on writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, which is exactly why there were creative differences between Reynolds and Shawn Levy going against the Disney heads. Now, all She-Hulk scenes in Deadpool and Wolverine are now officially being replaced with the classic Hulk instead, and Tatiana is already on the move in a series of arguments with Kevin Feige to release her scenes that she filmed to be included in the director's cut, or she is willing to take things up on a legal scale against Disney since she claims that this was part of her contract where her scenes were meant to be included in a special edition of the film on disc and for streaming. Now, in addition to all of this, Reynolds also got the Disney heads to erase and lock up any BTS footage, also known as behind-the-scenes footage, of course, She-Hulk and everything revolving around that character from becoming a part of the extra features for Deadpool and Wolverine. Yet another victory for Ryan Reynolds. Even a special scene for Henry Cavill playing a new variant of Wolverine is said to have replaced one of Tatiana's scenes as She-Hulk, including an extra scene for Cavill as Wolverine for the director's cut of the film that will be taking over Tatiana's scene as well. Now, what's interesting about this, guys, let me just say one thing before I move on. the fact that you have someone like Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy, who is the director of this thing, really successfully taking a stand against Disney and really just putting them into a corner and saying, you're gonna do this unless, you know, really puts them into their place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is exactly why I keep saying that I really do believe that Deadpool and Wolverine has the opportunity to pull in numbers similar to Spider-Man No Way Home, maybe not as big as Avengers Endgame, we'll have to wait and see. That might be, you know, overdoing it a bit, but I think it does have the chance to really becoming as successful as Spider-Man No Way Home, because you're going to have a lot of cameos in there, you're going to have a lot of elements in there that are going to be, you know, surprising to Marvel fans. We know that there's going to be roughly 10 to 12 minutes of screen time where Wolverine wears the iconic Wolverine mask. That may seem a little short to some out there, but it's going to seem like forever to a lot of fans that have been waiting for this thing for so very long. Now, as far as She-Hulk goes, look, I think it's a very good move that Ryan and Shawn spent countless, you know, time on really, you know, engaging in these countless battles against the Disney heads to just back off from using any kind of She-Hulk footage, fighting Wolverine and engaging in battles against Wolverine. Whether it was for the theatrical release or for the director's cut, doesn't matter. They got things done their way because they were willing to take a stand and to walk away from Avengers Secret Wars if they were to actually move on and to include She-Hulk in, you know, that special edition of Deadpool and Wolverine. Moving on. Now, on top of that, both Reynolds and Shawn Levy are now on a mission to remove all DEI elements from multiple upcoming Marvel movies moving onwards, and are on a goal to convince Disney to reverse their DEI agenda for all things Marvel by 2026 to 2027. Now look, we know that 2025 is going to be quite a mess. We know that Blade is going through expensive, you know, reshoots, rewrites, etc., as well as for Captain America 4. Now, Fantastic Four, that's another problem as well, because there's been a couple of setbacks with that film. We'll talk more about that. But the fact that you got Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in just a short number of weeks from now, July 27th is going to be a very big date where you see everything, of course, coming into the equation for the MCU. Now, look, we already know that Disney's banking on this movie. They know that they needed a success for 2024 so that by the time 2025 arrives, they can point the finger at this year and say, yeah, we had a major MCU success back in 2024. So they need to make this movie work, and they knew that they needed Shawn Levy and, of course, Ryan Reynolds to make things work successfully. So that's why Ryan was put in this position where he was able to make these ultimatums and to put Disney in that very corner to say, we're not going to do this unless you allow us to do things our way. So I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Ryan Reynolds and She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.